Let's talk about voter suppression this morning. I love these voter suppression stories because it shows just how desperate both parties get during an election. And they try to hold on to this same group of voters year after year. And they try to like scrape votes off from the other side year after year after year. But they never actually go after the 100 million people that don't vote. Hey, there's an idea. Why don't we try to go after the people that don't vote? No, we're just going to keep trying to either suppress the vote, go after the votes that already exist. The people that voted for Trump last time, let's go after him. So that's how they do it. Democrats think they can win this time. This is literally part of their strategy. They think they can win by going after enough Trump voters. People who voted for Trump in the past, in 2016, but could be swayed to somehow move over to Joe Biden. Hey, you don't like what he did on trade. You don't like what he did for farmers. There's a lot of disenfranchised farmers. What about this, Foxconn in Michigan or Wisconsin? Oh, these empty plants in Wisconsin. Remember President Trump promised you that? Why don't you come vote for me? I'm Joe Biden. Democrats will also do anything that they can right now to stop the Green Party from getting on the ballot. We interviewed Howie Hawkins here on the show, of course. The Green Party candidate, Howie Hawkins, told us about the outrageous voter suppression moves by Democrats in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Texas to try to keep the Green Party off the ballot in order to take away, that they would think would take away votes from Biden. I got news for you. These people aren't going to vote for Biden. Like now you're taking away their only option to vote for a Howie Hawkins candidate. The same thing was true of Jill Stein. In Pennsylvania in 2016, the Jill Stein voters were not going to vote for Hillary. They said that. So what you're doing is you're fighting at the court level to try to suppress the vote. Well, Republicans, on the other hand, think that if they can just stop people from voting and use scare tactics, then that will help them. I told you about the fake ballot boxes they set up in California. Literally, a judge had to tell these Republicans, the state Republicans, stop putting out fake ballot box drop-off points, which I told you, they look like filing cabinets that someone stuck a piece of paper on that says, drop your vote here. So people are driving by like, hey, Mildred, there's a vote box. Let's go drop our ballots in there. And then there's like some little sniveling Republican with this like, hand truck. All right, we got 20 of them. Let's get them out of here. And hoist them up and they make off. That's literally what was happening. Or on a much larger level, Republicans this year thought it would be great to go after your mail-in ballots. That if they are postmarked before Election Day, but they arrive after Election Day, that they shouldn't count. That we're going to throw out your ballot. Or that if you drive up to a drive-in voting booth in Texas, where this is happening, they have drive-in voting booths. You pull up in your car, you go into like a tent, okay? Someone comes up to you and hands you the ballot, and you're able to, in your own private car tent, to be protected from the pandemic so you don't have to go into a polling place. You're able to fill out your ballot and then submit it. Well, 127,000 ballots were cast this way outside of Houston in these drive-up voting booths. Republican groups have been asking the courts there to stop it. We don't want these people who we know are Democrats in Houston voting. That this is illegal. And what they're saying is that under the law, you could not vote in a movable vehicle. Or a movable structure is the law. Well, take that, Republicans in Texas. This morning, the Texas Supreme Court has denied Republicans' efforts to throw out 127,000 ballots, excuse me. Republican groups have been asking to nullify these votes in Harris County because the voters participated in drive-through voting instead of walking themselves into the building, which, by the way, this is how I've been getting my French fries for years. Going through the drive-through, it works. Unless I have to pee, in which case I pull over and then go into the McDonald's and come out. These drive-through things, I think we're on to something. The all-Republican court denied the request without an opinion. No opinion. That's it. Denied. It was a flat no. Take that. This was an all-Republican court that just basically laughed this off. Like, nope, sorry, done. However, the group's not giving up. These Republicans, man, they're not giving up. They're trying to suppress the vote as much as they can. They're taking the case to a federal judge later today. They're trying to disenfranchise a large portion of voters in the home stretch of this election right now. The thing is, though, federal courts are not bound by the state Supreme Court's rulings. Federal and state don't often get along. Federal kind of looks down on state courts. However, judges traditionally defer to the interpretations of the state law by their state court counterparts, and at the Supreme Court level, this is often the case. So, sorry, Republicans, you're not going to have this one happen. But what's interesting about this, too, is if they're allowed to then count these 127,000 votes in the Houston area, Texas is already leaning Joe Biden. This would have been a huge blow to the Biden camp if these 127,000 votes were not counted. But what's interesting is if they're now counted on Election Day, and by the time this federal judge would rule on this, maybe even after Election Day, it'd be too late. So they'd already be in the process for being counted. But folks, this is happening all across the country, these court challenges. To which I say, wouldn't it be great if both parties, instead of trying to suppress the vote and to try to keep other people off the ballot, like in the case of the Democrats, they actually were able to increase their tent by going after the 100 million people that don't vote? Wouldn't that be a novel idea? Actually put forth policies and ideas that could attract people instead of having to hire an army of lawyers to keep you from voting. That's American politics right now. Let me know your thoughts on this Supreme Court ruling in Texas, and be sure to subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for supporting independent journalism and Morning Invest. We are live every day, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. So thank you so much for joining us.